to begin here in a few seconds. Welcome. Today is Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. This is first day back after our recess. Today's going to be a longer day today. We do have all committee meetings, or all committees meeting this evening. We do have a special legislative this evening, and no, we do have an executive session at the end. So before we begin, just ensure your cell phones are off or on silent, and council members, ensure your microphones are on, please. Feels new. Feels like it's like we never were gone. All right. Again, today's Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. Today's a committee of the whole meeting, or this is a committee of the whole meeting of Barberton City Council. Before we do our committee of the whole meeting, we do have individual committee meetings this evening. And again, we have all of them today. So we'll start with street, sidewalk, and lighting with Mrs. Beck.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, I would like to call the Street, Sidewalk, and Lighting Committee to order. It is Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025 at 6:02 p.m. All members of the committee are present, including all of council and guests noted on my sheet. This evening, we don't have any requested legislation. We don't have anything pending. I would like to ask Mr. Shreve for a quick little update on Worcester Road West, just because we haven't had one for about a month because we've been here. So just kind of a little update.
So as far as Worcester Road West goes, last I had heard they're still on schedule. They are doing utility adjustments. So you'll see some of the water valve boxes and the manholes are sticking up out of the pavement right now. That's because they're bringing those all up to grade, getting them ready for the final layer of pavement. The water line has been completed. All of the tie-ins have been done on that road. So I mean, like I said, we should be heading right towards our finish date. I did request an updated schedule from the general foreman from Kenmore today. So as soon as I get that, I'll shoot that out and forward that to everybody so that you guys have got the up-to-date schedule. Any other questions?
Thank you. Anybody have questions from the body, the gallery? Go right ahead. Do you want to come up?
Yes, Megan Eberhardt on Mesa Verde Drive. But speaking of Worcester Road West, I was under the impression, and is there a status update on the resurfacing then from Hudson Run to Cleveland Maslin 31st Street of Worcester Road West? I travel that every day, and I haven't noticed any grinding or scraping yet, and one would think that that would just, then when they do the top coat, do that section also.
Thank you.
So I'm hoping that.
Okay, well, nothing else. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
May I have a second? I'll second. We are adjourned at 6:05.
Thank you, Ms. Beck. Next up is Environmental Health and Social Services, Mrs. Hager.
Thank you, President Greer. Environmental Health and Social Services meeting this evening, September 2nd, 2025, in Council Chambers at 6:05 p.m. with myself as chair, Shorter Griffin as co-chair, Taylor Thompson and Justin Greer, and all members of council are present along with members. Our guest is listed on my sheet. We have no request for legislation at this time and no pending legislation. Do we have any miscellaneous discussion from my committee or the body? From the gallery? If none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
And with that, we are adjourned at 6:05.
Thank you, Mrs. Hager. Planning, Annexation, and Codes, Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. Planning, Annexation, and Codes. It's Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025, 6:05 p.m. Council Chambers. The committee is present, which consists of Councilors Thompson, Harris, President Greer, and myself as chair. All others noted. First off, we have a request for legislation from myself requesting to amend the DORA 98-2022 Everybody saw the map that was included. It was brought to my attention that for downtown events, the Arts and Music Festival could be expanded to include those houses with their porches and their front yards and just make for a better event there. Are there any questions?
I don't have any questions, I just have a comment.
By all means, Counselor.
Thank you, Mr. Huddy. Looking at the door, this includes all of Lake Anna.
Correct.
My only concern is the fact that we have the Veterans Memorial located on the south side on 6th Street. And there's not one Veterans Memorial that I know of that allows alcoholic beverages, whether it's, during a certain time period or not. So I'm not in favor of this. If something wants to change, like you include, Third or West Park with the gazebo and stuff, I don't see what the big issue is here. I don't agree with expanding this to all of Lake Anna, especially with the Veterans Memorial over there. I know we've put tons, being a member of the VFW, I know that we put tons of money into that memorial, so specifically the Medal of Honor Memorial. And I don't agree with allowing alcoholic beverages within that memorial at all. You go to OVMP down in Clinton, there's no alcoholic beverages. You go to the National Cemetery, no alcoholic beverages. There's been other, veteran memorials that I've been at, no alcoholic beverages. So I don't approve of this. I won't be supporting this as it sits right now.
Thank you, Counselor.
I got a question.
Counselor?
Mr. Heidick. So right now, I know they're working on a master plan for the parks, which is going to include some activities down at the lake for children, which is going to make it more of a park than a lake at certain areas. And that would be my only concern, would be the alcohol around the children. But just wanted to bring it up since we're looking at, we also have grants for the park, for the Welcome Center, so that's all.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Thompson?
Thank you. I agree. I think it would be fine to extend it at least a little bit, maybe the gazebo for the special events, the concerts, things like that, or, have the beer garden like they typically do for events like that. But I think opening it up for the whole park just is not a good idea. That's where I'm at.
I will comment to bear in mind that Lake Anna is one parcel. I don't believe you can, in Adora, you can carve out pieces of a parcel. It's either in it or it's not. Counselor?
I would say with that, then no for me too. We extended, I think, the days for the tailgate. There was a tailgate party that we allowed that to happen for one day. I just don't understand doing a whole year forever and ever for this for one day out of the year in June. I think maybe we could do an ordinance to allow it that one time. But yeah, this is a park. It's a family thing all of the time. So, if we can't parcel something off, I would, even the beer gardens, we've had those before. So I just not comfortable with it at all. I do love the Art and Music Festival, and I wanted to go over there. I think that was the plan all along, to extend it over this way, but I just don't think it's a good idea to do it all year long for one day.
Counselor Hager?
Yeah, I have to agree, especially with Councilman Harris. Being the wife of a veteran and having family members that have served, I just think it would be extremely, extremely disrespectful to have people walking through the memorial with alcoholic beverages, and then to having, you know, families walking through with their children. And I mean, like, we could do it for one day for the arts festival, you know, have beer gardens or something like that, but I think just to allow it for the entire park, I don't think it's a good idea.
Well, one comment I can make towards that is, I do understand when people say it's disrespectful to possibly have alcohol around the, when you look at the cannon, the concrete pad, the upgrades they made, was it disrespectful to veterans that that was all paid for by alcohol money and gambling money from the VFW post itself? Was that disrespectful to use that money that was funded that way to do that?
It's not disrespectful because those
I'm just
funds-
asking for a standard here.
Those funds were not created by alcohol being drank at the memorial. Those funds were created at the VFW through events that they created to help raise funds to move the cannon, and that it was not created by people drinking at the memorial. So it's, in my opinion, it's two completely separate things. To be drinking alcohol at the memorial for veterans who gave their lives for our country or served our country, to me that's extremely disrespectful. Funds being raised by the VFW in their own building to help raise funds for things for that memorial are two separate things.
Okay, because the only reason I bring that up is the VFW post utilizes video slot terminals. And in the ORC codes, those video slot terminals are legal in casinos, racinos, and only one other place. It's one sentence in an entire ORC code about this long, one sentence carve out that they are allowed at VFWs. So again, I just want to make clear with opinions that having alcohol there, a lot of the upgrades and cleanups and everything, upgrades are funded off of alcohol and gambling. Both of them legal. I have no problem with that. But I just want to make sure I see everybody's opinion with the correlation between the two. That's all. I'm not arguing it. I want to make sure I know where everybody's coming from in that aspect. Counselor, did I see your hand up?
Yes, sir.
Counselor Harris?
I will tell you that not all the money came from alcohol and gambling to put forth, to the improvements of the Veterans Memorial. I was actually the quartermaster at the VFW when we put the Medal of Honor memorial up there. And I can tell you that not all the money came from alcohol and gambling.
Oh, I'm not saying 100%. I'm saying a portion
Well,
of
that's
it
what it
does.
sounds like to me.
No, a portion of, you can't deny a portion of it does. And like I said, it's perfectly legal. I have no issue with it.
Right.
But you can't say that 0% of those incomes go to that. It's not a separate
No.
fund that goes to that.
All the money comes back from Ohio Charities.
Right, which through gambling and everything else, a portion of that money is used. Like I said, I have no problem with it, but I just wanted to make sure I know where everybody's headspace is when they say certain things.
Well, to me, it almost sounds like you're attacking veterans.
Oh,
in a
absolutely
sense.
not. I just want to know when somebody says it's disrespectful to have alcohol around there, that alcohol and gambling money is used in some capacity for upkeep and upgrades. So I just want to make sure
But I think that's kind of irrelevant, how you're saying that.
I don't think it's irrelevant at all. I think it's,
Because you're talking about alcohol and gambling in a building, not alcohol at a park that memorializes veterans that have gave their all. I mean, there's 3 veterans on our council right now.
I understand that.
4.
4? Yeah, 4. I forgot about Shorter over there. He's hiding. So, like I said, having alcohol at the memorial is a no-go for me. I've not seen it in any other memorial that I've been to. it's disrespectful.
And I think
Councilor Gerhart?
I'm sorry, I think if we were to somehow sell this on, well, alcohol funded that, so you should be allowed to drink there, then that would open it up for everything that they fundraise for to be permitted to have alcohol, which I don't think you get alcohol at like high school basketball game. Like, I think there's a lot of places they fund that don't have alcohol. So it'd be a hard precedence to set if we said, well, you got your memorial because you sold booze, so now you should be able to get booze everywhere that they support.
I want to make it clear that I am not insinuating that alcohol and gambling paid 100% for all these upgrades. These upgrades were done before they were allowed to have video slot machines. They were done when they were a D4 private club. Now they no longer hold that license, they hold a D5 license. My contention is that if somebody is going to make the assertion of it's disrespectful to have something around something, then how is it acceptable for any of that money to do it? Again, I have no problem if they say it's two different things. I'm just asking the question. I get the answer, I'm okay with the answer. I just want to reconcile my question with the people that oppose it. That's all. And everybody that opposed it answered that question. So I'm okay with that.
When you had the conversation about having Dora extended for that weekend event, what brought it to be just extend it the other 364 days? Just ease, so we don't have to come back and approve it every June, May?
Second Saturday in June, so it would be prior to.
Well, therein lies the question. If the bulk of council is against extending it to cover this, then at that point, would the future council next year, of which I will not be okay with that day? Councilor Easterling?
Can you set it up to where it's a permittable occasion? You know, to where you go to City Hall and you, just like they did Tusk Park for that back to school thing, at the pull a permit, you know, costs you $50 or whatever, and you get the, you know what I mean, for the door for the weekend or whatever. Just something along that lines to where then other people, not just the Arts Festival, can also apply for other weekends, you know, and it could just be a per application approval or denial.
According to our ordinance and ORC codes regarding DORA legislation, any alteration of the DORA for hours, days, whatever, have to be passed by the legislative authority and signed at least 30 days prior to an event. So if somebody asked on the 29th day before the event, it cannot happen. Only council action can extend it.
I would say if they know they're going to have an event, they know more than 30 days before that they're going to have it. So I'm just saying, I mean, that would be
And I know in
Plan B.
And I know in your time here, you've also seen what we've all understood, that government runs really, really slow sometimes.
Yes, I get it. But I'm just not totally against it. But I don't like the 365.
Again, that raises the question, would the future council be willing to entertain the one-day event just for that? They would have to vote next year, 30 days beforehand.
Can we ask the council who oppose it right now, their opinion on if it was a one-day versus the rest of the year?
Certainly.
Would you feel okay if
Councilor
it was?
Thompson, would you be more okay with a one-time thing?
Ms. Icewood's got her hand up.
Councilor, or Director?
While you make your way up here, I am curious. It makes sense that you say, you know, you can't have it just for a part of the parcel, but I would love to double check that because, like I said, for the summer concerts and stuff, I could see maybe having some sort of barrier where it cannot be past a certain point, like on that corner. So I just want to say that.
Mr. Hedrick, I just want to make sure. So when I'm reading the original application, the language that I see is like requests for changes are only for changing times for special events, not doing changes for location. I'm not saying that that's not something you guys could create, but I want to know what we currently have is just for extending times, which we already changed and amended to the different hours, but nothing about changing locations. But
Right, I was wondering that as well, because when we went through council for the event for the school supplies, it was still within the door boundaries, it was just extended hours. So it doesn't, I don't know that we're able to add a location.
Well, in any case, when I look that up there, because it seems like it wouldn't have the votes to pass this, okay with a one-day event if that's a possibility?
Oh, yeah,
through the park?
absolutely. I think, well, but I also think it should just be that section.
What if it can't be? What if it's all or nothing? Because if I'm, Mayor, you may remember, but correct me if I'm wrong, when we applied for the door to liquor control, we had to include addresses, did we not?
Yes.
And Lake Anna is one address, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Fourth on page.
There's a little.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, then it's a no for me. I think they could stick to the beer garden up on the street.
Councilor Griffin, one-day event, would you be okay?
No, I'm gonna have to go with the military part of it. Because, that's part of my life I will never forget. And I'm very passionate about it. And I think it would be disrespectful even to me. I'd like for it to be off the table as far as the military itself. I'm okay with another area maybe, but not for the military.
Thank you. Councilor Easterling, one-day event, yes, no?
Wide open park, I'd say no. Corralled area, absolutely. Multiple weekends, I mean, by permit, I'd be 100% behind that.
Thank you. Councilor Hager?
Yeah, the whole park, I have to go down. If there was a way, like, we could parcel it off, even if we have to say the whole address, because the park is one address, if we ourselves can parcel off, like, a corner of it, because we have to put the address down and that includes the whole park, do we have to use the whole park? If we can use one corner of it, like over by the gazebo or something, then I could be okay with that, but for the whole park, no.
Thank you. Councilor Harris, one-day event, yes, no?
No.
Thank you. Councilor Gerhardt?
I like the beer garden or the parceling idea better than the whole park.
Thank you. Councilor Beck?
I have to agree. Before Mr. Harris brought up the memorial and it being disrespectful, I would have said yes. I didn't consider that, so with that in mind, I would have to say no. Regretfully, I would have to say no.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Yes. Dan Noor, Parks Commission Chair. I'd like to ask, why hasn't the commission been informed of this legislation? And I would also say that if you wish, I will put it on the agenda for our next meeting in September. In the past, there has been a beer garden in the gazebo area, but I have to personally agree with Mr. Harris that alcohol does not belong in the War Memorial Honor Roll. And also, the Honor Roll itself was a community event raising funds. And that was quite a while ago. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I don't think you would have a vote, but President Greer, your opinion?
No, my question was actually going to be,
Sorry. My question was actually going to be, what's the park commission say about this? We have restrictions on even selling things in the park, let alone drinking. I don't see anything wrong with how it is now. We have to apply for a permit, and then there's a beer garden. And if that beer garden wants to run all the way down the private side of the road, it can, if it gets approved. This is as long as it's, the beer garden that we set up for Labor Day Fest was chosen for a reason, the size and everything. It could have been moved, it could have been changed. So, no, I wouldn't support a one-day or any alcohol in any park.
Fair enough. With everybody's opinion consideration, I am withdrawing this request. The next item on planning's agenda is from Director Stacy Carr requesting legislation to amend ordinance 91, 2019 by removing parcels 01-12849, 01-03928 from the tax increment finance district. I did get an email that she would like to withdraw this one for the time being as well. Also in that email, she apologizes she couldn't be here tonight, but she wanted me to inform a few items here. The vacant property registration started a few weeks. A few cases have been filed through BZBA for appeal, and those will be on September 16th. And they are starting to receive the payments for the registration. Demolitions, right now, we have raised 15 houses with another 15 on butcher's list that are ready to go. And I don't even want to read this one. Development code moving forward. She had a meeting with OHM a week ago, and the final comments are getting worked into the code, so it's moving slower than she would like, but moving in the right direction. I just choked a little reading that.
Hurt your feelings.
What's that?
It hurt your feelings.
It hurt a lot more than that. So that is it. Is there any miscellaneous discussion from the body? From the gallery? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 6:20, is that 8?
Yep.
6:28.
All right, thank you, Mr. Heidick. Next up is City Properties, Parks, and Recreation, Mr. Easter.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is 6:28 here in council chambers. All the members of the committee are here. All the rest of the council members are also present, and those noted as visitors. Today we have no requests for legislation and have no pending legislation. But if we have any miscellaneous discussion, we'll open that up now. Anyone have any questions? Committee, body, visitors? Hearing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We adjourn at 6:29.
Thank you, Mr. Easterling. Next up is Public Welfare and Safety, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Welfare and Safety Committee, September 2nd, 2025, 6:29 p.m. We're in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, including myself as chair, Mr. Easterling as co-chair, Ms. Gearhart, Mr. Greer, all other council members are present. And guests noted on my sheet, we have several pieces of legislation. A letter from Councilman at Large Thomas Badick requesting legislation to amend Barberton Codified Ordinance 351.13 subsection B and add sections C and D. One reading and emergency wording requested. Mr. Heidick, would you like to elaborate?
Thank you, Chair. Excuse me. With downtown starting to pick back up, and we all know that these buildings have apartments upstairs, a lot of times residents that lease these apartments are parking on the street overnight, and a lot of the business owners are kind of being shortchanged that before they even open, most of Tusk's already taken up, or parts of 2nd Street already taken up in front of their places. It's my contention that if you lease an apartment in a downtown, you obviously know you don't have a garage. What this does is allow people through the safety department to get essentially passes and permits to park in the 2 commercial lots, the two parking lots that are zoned commercial in downtown overnight, because they do have to park the cars somewhere, and just being on the street is not good for development, for business, for anything.
Ms. Thompson?
Thanks. Are you, will there be a charge for these permits?
No,
Okay,
you would have to
And-
show proof that you live there, obviously.
right. But can you remind me what the limit on parking is downtown?
Isn't it 2 hours?
2 hours from
2
2
hours.
hours during a certain period.
6 a.m.
Ms. Iceman?
So,
Can you come up, please?
so wouldn't that solve that issue anyways? I mean, because I imagine that's being policed as far as cars just staying out all day.
Right,
Doesn't
so-
that kind of defeat the purpose of the, those signs as far as the parking limits go?
The parking limits for the 2-hour parking on the street, or are you talking about in the
Yeah,
municipal lot?
No, I'm saying on the street because, we do have those limits. So I'm just confused as to why, I like the idea of them having permits to park in the lots, but I don't really see why this would be so much of an issue if there is a limit, after 6 a.m. anyways. It's a 2-hour parking limit.
Well, I mean, there are the limits, and be mindful that I can't speak for the chief, but I would not expect an officer to sit there and start chalking vehicles and know exactly, and some people take advantage of it as well. If there's a complaint, absolutely police are out there. I know of a complaint today, so it does happen. But it is an issue for, but until the police know about it,
Yeah.
if someone notices it, they should call the non-emergency line.
Mr. Hardy?
Thank you, Chair. If an officer does ticket a car, do they eventually tow it?
Ticket it because they haven't moved it in time.
Yes.
I mean, what happens down here, our officers are great. They do truly try and find the person. They will go into the businesses. Their incentive is not to want to ticket someone. They want to educate. Hey, can you move? I could get you some information more about that, but I don't know of, they're not just writing a ticket. They are trying to find out who the person is. Hey, can you move? And, not do that anymore. It happened on 3rd Street today. We had an officer go in, speak to the person. They weren't aware, even though the sign says 2-hour parking.
My question is, is the ability to tow there?
Well, I'm sure eventually. I don't know the process. Mr. Harris is probably more familiar with that on how long it would take to tow, so I'll defer to him.
Typically, I've been retired for 7 years, but typically, like she said, we try to get the owner to move it. Now, you might get a parking ticket. Do we tow it? Typically, no. Because the message has been sent via the ticket. Like, hey, don't do this. So towing it is unheard of, in a way.
Because my counterpoint to Counselor Thompson is, yes, you can ticket it, but unless the car is removed, yes, the parking limit's there, but the physical vehicle is there. If it's parked in a city lot with a permit, it's not an issue. Somebody gets a ticket, doesn't remove the car from being sitting there. So, yes, you can have parking limits, but I could park a tank out front. But if you give me a ticket, that doesn't move the tank, does it?
Is that it, Mr.?
Yeah,
That's it.
that's my only point to that.
Any other comments on this issue? Ms. Iceman, have there been a ton of complaints about this issue?
I'm I'm not aware of them being a ton of complaints. I would have to have Lieutenant White check the call log and see. I have not received issue, but again, I see it more because of here being on Tusk. That's just what I'm more familiar of. But I do want to let council know that this is a program that we do currently have temporary parking permits for the gray lot, which is the lot behind Lake Cinemas. And it's been a while. It's been since 2020 since I have issued a temporary permit if someone was a resident and living in the building on West Tusk. And they brought to me, or the prior director, proof of insurance and proof of residency. We issued them a temporary parking pass that they could hang from their mirror. I currently don't have any on file, but I do have some with the businesses that do park their vehicles in the gray lot, and they do have permission to do so.
Ms. Gerhart.
2 questions. I thought we were street sweeping at the daytime,
We are.
so this doesn't.
Correct. Yes.
And then would this be year-round? Because would we start to have problems with snow removal in the lots if there's a bunch of cars in them?
Mayor?
Yeah, I mean, anytime there's a vehicle parked in the snow, so they would essentially get plowed in, unless we try to move the snow off to the side.
And then they leave and there's a big pile of snow around a parking
Right.
spot?
On the street, though, if they're parked in the street, they can.
That's true.
But maybe try to hit the streets first, so people can get around safety vehicles and things like that, the main roads, and then get to the side roads, and parking lots may be one of the last ones that we get to.
I mean, parking lots and alleys are typically the last to be plowed.
Okay.
Mrs. Thompson?
Oh,
He's
sorry, yeah.
the chair.
I forgot we moved on from you.
Thank you.
Like,
Would
why
it
aren't you
make
picking
sense
me?
to maybe also have some sort of just downtown resident parking permit in general so that they could park on the street between that time? Because, you know, what businesses are open between 2 and 7 a.m. downtown, you know? So that they could park either in one of the city lots or, you know, in front of their apartment building. If there's street parking, there's not businesses that are open at that time. You know what I mean?
Bars till 2:30.
Till 2:30, but you know.
But typically it's, and no bar is opening at 7 in the morning
Well,
that I
if
know
you're
of.
closing down a bar, maybe you shouldn't be
I
driving.
think the
Right.
only
Yeah,
bar
so-
open till 2:30 is the corner.
I don't know.
I think it's just 2.
Me neither.
Miss Beck, did you have your hand up,
did.
please?
Maybe am I missing something? What problem are we solving here? I don't know, what does this solve? You know, I have an office downtown. I look out to the downtown and on Tusk every day. There are people who live above, their residents there. They park there all of the time. I see a gentleman come out to his car often. As far as I know, he's never been ticketed or anything like that. So now we're going to give him a parking, he already parks there anyway. I don't know if this solves, am I missing something here? Are we solving a
I
problem?
thought it was a parking pass to park in a lot.
But that's the way it looks to
Right.
me, but people are also talking about street parking, like, they park in that lot too, like, I park down at, is that purple lot, where block 7 is? There's the same cars parked there all the time too, like, it's not that they're not permitted to park there or anybody tells them not to park there, so permit, no permit, they park there anyway. So I don't see a problem we're solving here.
We get a lot of complaints from primarily owners of businesses in downtown that their customers don't have anywhere to park on the street. What Ms. Eisman is saying is that we do offer permitted parking in the lots. So, for example, the tenant that you're talking about would not be parking in front of your office, he would be parking just around the corner. And all of this was generated because all of the downtown businesses were very frustrated that overnight tenants were taking the parking spots of their customers. So this was the solution we came up with.
I think it comes down to a problem of enforcement of what we already have. It's 2-hour parking. If we're not enforcing the 2-hour parking, then.
Certainly, except that if we don't offer an alternative, where will the tenant park? So, right, so if they don't, that's why we have the parking permit, and then we could ticket them. But I don't know what, I cannot remember the legislation that we had, if you didn't notice, a lot of requests for legislation, I think 30. And, but that was the intent. It is in response to my office gets a lot of complaints from downtown business owners that their customers can't park in front of their business because tenants are parking there the entire time. So that was the issue that was presented.
My last question would be then what would motivate these tenants who are taking up parking spots? You know, like I said, I'm down there every day. What incentive do they, how would we make them do that? Because we're already not telling them not to park there in the first place.
They currently don't have anywhere else to go. That's the problem. Where else are they gonna park? This is a solution in giving them somewhere to park.
Okay.
Some people don't have the ability to find some place that has parking. Now granted, they chose to live there, which is a great location, but a lot of them don't have parking. So if they have another place to go, it will eliminate, it's not gonna 100%, but it's definitely gonna be a great starting point. And when, whether it's an officer or, says, hey, you need to start parking over there, and they're gonna know, because if they have, I just brought an example. I'm not saying this is what we would use, but I want to show what I currently have, is this would be in their window. They have this in their window, and they're parking on the street, they shouldn't be parking on the street, right? They have this, and the thought would be, to have a different color annually, so officers would know, so they wouldn't have to go up and try and read that little date, and, maybe the beginning of the year would be like registration for people that want to come get a pass. It's a very simple process, 2 forms of, proof.
Question for you, would there be like an educational period, grace period type of deal that we could,
I think that would be a great idea. Right,
maybe-
because there's going to be a transition time.
Right.
By the time the program starts, and, we say we want to start something this time, but also, letting the police departments know, letting the tenants know. I don't see any issue with having these parking passes. I think it's a great alternative and to get more parking out on the streets for those that want to come to the city and utilize those businesses.
Ms. Thompson?
Thank you. I think we received a question, and since I'm the closest one here, the apartments there, Alexander, senior citizens and disabled. What about the handicap? Is that lot closer that's behind? Or is it close to park on the street there?
You talking about the old Marshall building?
The one by Tusk.
Yeah.
Tusk.
That's the old Marshall.
Tusk and 4th,
Yeah.
Yeah,
the old Marshall's building,
okay.
if you've been here for a while.
I think it's in the back.
Sorry, Lori.
That's what I'm saying, like, why not just do, like, downtown resident parking passes in general? Like, if you're in a lot, then maybe the time doesn't matter, but if you're on the street, you have to be off by 7 a.m. And it could just mean the same for everybody,
All downtown residents.
Yes.
That's an added step in enforcement would be my only, you can do this at this time, and now, that's just my opinion. Keep it simple by keeping it to the lots, and keeping now we're having to also enforce regular parking. Now there's certain parking on the streets. I feel like it adds an extra step.
I'm sorry, was there a time limit for the lots?
For the city
I don't
lots,
think so.
Yeah.
there's no overnight
No
parking
overnight
in
parking.
without a pass.
Right,
Lot.
which I understand that, and I think that's a great idea. I just think that it should be allowed on the street as well up until 7 a.m. Anybody with a pass, if you find a closer parking spot and you've got to get up for work at 6:30, why not park on the street?
Mayor?
So this all started a number of years ago, and we had, like, the theater before, the previous owner, they had the cleaning crew come in at night. they got ticketed because they were there overnight. Different cleaning crew now, but you've got a handful of employees that close bars down, so they could leave at 3:30, depending on their cleanup schedule. This just kind of formalizes a program we already have in place. But I would be careful about doing anything with on-street parking because we're street sweeping during the day now, and it's a test. So we haven't met internally to see how it's going. I mean, we've met throughout the summer, but that could change and go back to night sweeping. We haven't made that determination yet.
Yeah.
So just kind of keep that in your mind as well.
Mr. Shreve?
Along the lines of the street sweeping, we do, so twice a month, we have a crew or a guy that comes in early just to sweep downtown. So if you allow them to park there till 7, they would be in the way in the downtown area for our street sweep.
Oh, good.
So-
What time during the day do they usually hit downtown?
So I want to, they start, so a call out's 3 hours, so I would say they start 3 hours before their normal starting time. So they start at 7, they're coming in at 4 o'clock to sweep downtown.
Okay.
And like I said, I think that's twice a month. I think that's what we determined, just to try to help, because one of the main complaints that Melanie gets to and gives us is that it never seems to get clean enough down there. Even when we were sweeping at night, it was never cleaned enough down there.
Mm-hmm.
So the more parking we can prohibit in those hours of the morning, and the more cars that we can get in the lot, the better our downtown's gonna look too. And the more opportunity the guys are gonna get to be able to actually sweep the stalls, the parking stalls, and up against the curb. So that's just my 2 cents.
And I'll just add that this is only for the commercial area. Am I not correct there, Mr. Heidick, in what you wrote here?
It would be in the commercial downtown zoned lots, or when we're all gone and the development code comes and it changes the name of the zone, it would follow that.
So it's basically Tusk and Second, in a sense.
It would include the Worcester Road lot,
Right.
the Block 7 lot, and the lot on First Street behind us. Those are the
Right.
3 city lots in there.
Right.
So they would have,
Next to BCF.
yeah, they would have a choice. If they had one of those
So all
permits,
these?
they could park in any of those.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we should include the old Case Candy at Second and Page.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
Oh, by,
Second page.
this bakery?
Oh.
Across from
Yeah.
Owl's?
The
That's
small
it.
lot there?
Yeah, I don't know if it has a color.
That is included in commercial downtown, so
Yeah.
yes.
This only covers the commercial downtown zone streets, not all of downtown.
So it's kind of all the parking on the Dora map.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
People that live on Tusk can park at the parking lot behind the Lake Cinemas. People on Second at the first half could park in the purple lot. Farther down, you could do but the lot next to His Bakery, Old His Bakery.
Right.
So,
For that building where you mentioned having a lot of seniors, what would their closest lot be?
That's what I'm wondering. I don't know if that
she
would
doesn't
be behind like cinemas or the,
I can't tell if it's, or behind us
Yeah.
here.
the purple lot or the brown lot?
Put them
Those
over
are-
there?
Those would be your 2 choices for the old Marshall building.
Okay.
That's what I would think.
Is that brown?
I think this is the brown lot.
and there's a set of apartments above like Stars and Stripes as well. I mean, there's a lot of upstairs apartments along Tusk. But I still think parking anywhere. We know that the street sweeper comes. I think you just let them know, hey, they're coming, on these days of the month, you can't park there just like you could in any residential area. That's just where I'm at.
Oh, I didn't know who was
Oh,
supposed to, okay.
Ms.
My
Miller?
experience in dealing with the residents of the Marshall Building is primarily most of them are not driving. There's a few that do have handicap placards. Some of them rent spaces from Campfield Hickman. So
Oh, okay.
those folks have found a way to do it. One of the problems is some of the folks that have the handicap placard park 24/7 and the only one handicap spot there. So if you're a person who wants to go to, Tusk, and you have your handicap, you don't know where you're
Yes, Ms. Tompkins.
Thank you. That's why I think it would be, I like the placards, but I think even something more permanent, maybe some sort of sticker that they could put on their windshield, that way it just stays there, I think might be beneficial, just to show like this is a resident, and if they're, you know, parked there all day long, then, you know, they need to move it to a lot. I'm done, I promise.
Did you have something, Chief?
No, sir.
Okay, I thought you raised your
He's holding
hand.
my
Oh.
spot.
My hair was getting away.
All right, I think we've had enough discussion on this. Can I get a motion to call for it, please?
I'll make that motion.
We have a
I'll
first.
second.
Can I get a second, please?
I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Easterling. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passed. Second, request for legislation, excuse me. A letter from Chief Dave Polachek, Barberton Fire Department, requesting legislation awarding a contract to P-Fund Superior Sales in the amount of $318,925 for the purchase of a 2027 Ford F-450 Lifeline Superliner ambulance. Emergency wording requested. Any questions? Mr. Heidi.
Thank you, Chair. Chief, I don't know what the difference is. Is a Superliner ambulance the same as a regular ambulance? Or is there a difference?
The last ambulance we purchased, the larger one, which is a four-wheel drive one, larger chassis, this is identical, but it's not a four-wheel drive. More room in the back, heavier duty suspension, heavier duty frame, so it should last a little bit longer than the other ones that are three-quarter ton. So it's a little heavier duty suspension. And part of this, if I might add, was part of the nutrition fund money. So actually, it's not all coming from one pot, so.
Thank you. I just didn't know when I see
Sure.
Superliner in quotes, if that was like something different than a normal ambulance that you see every day.
There's various styles and shapes, and talking with the guys who use it all the time, they really like that ambulance, and, you know, we're trying to standardize the fleet, and this would be the second step, because we already have one, so.
Thank you.
Mr. Easterling.
I got a question for
Sure.
Chief. What is your life expectancy from
The average is about 9 years.
9 years?
Yeah, and 9 years for frontline, and then they can go to reserve status for, depending on the maintenance. You know, and so many things factor into that maintenance, you know, engines, transmissions, suspensions, this, that, and the other. Currently, we have 4 ambulances. 2 are 9 and 10 years old. So our reserve ambulance is 10 years old at this point. So by the time we order this, it'll take us approximately 12 months to 24 months to get it. That puts us precariously close to that 10 to 12-year mark. And the idea is do a 3-year rotation, so every 3 years we would get a new one and go from there. That way we have a rotation and go from there. Plus, when we do go to sell the ambulance, if it's still in decent shape, it's worth a little bit more money. We have switched to gasoline engines as well, which are cheaper to operate than diesel engines.
You're not keeping them long enough to
Well, and that's just it.
pay the
It's-
$10,000.
Exactly. And let alone all the emissions control plus the cost of fuel.
And they're warmer.
Exactly.
Diesel engines are horrible in the winter.
Easy. I'm sorry.
With it taking the 12 to 24 months to complete, we
Correct.
just get it paid now, and then it's ours? Is that how that works, since we're approving it right now?
No, so if I remember correctly with it, we have to put a down payment on the vehicle by March of '26. And then we would hold the rest of the funds until the vehicle will be complete, and then we would pay them.
But this is the complete price,
Yeah.
Okay.
300 and some, 350,000 or something.
almost 319, yeah. Okay, thank you.
I'll reiterate that 75,000 of that 318 is the Truth and Farm deal that they're giving us.
Next.
Chief, does this have the power cot?
It will
All that
have
stuff?
yeah, we'll be able to take a power cut system and
Put it in there.
Yeah, transfer it. Correct.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? Can I get a motion to call for it?
Thank you.
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Next one, a letter from Chief David Polachek, Barberton Fire Department, requesting legislation to allow the Barberton Fire Department to submit a grant request to the Tuscarora Health and Wellness Foundation for the purchase of 7 AEDs for use in fire department apparatus and auxiliary vehicles in the amount of $14,629.72. Emergency wording requested. Any comments? Got to get a motion to call for it.
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. And our final request for legislation would be a letter from Thomas Heidick, Councilman at Large, requesting legislation to amend Barberton Codified Ordinance 1068.07, 3 readings and no emergency wording requested.
Mr. Chair.
I'll remind everybody that this is would be an amendment to the alcohol in the park one. Mr. Heidick?
Thank you, Chair. Respectfully withdrawn.
Thank you. Motion has been withdrawn by Mr. Heidick. And we have no other new legislation. We have no pending legislation. Any miscellaneous discussion from my committee? Other council members? Gallery? Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
We are adjourned at 6:57 PM.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harris. Next up is Rules, Market, and Development. Ms. Garrett.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today is Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. The time is 6:58 PM. We are in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, including myself as chair, Mrs. Beck as co-chair, Mr. Heidick, and President Greer. All other members of council are present, and guests as noted on my sheet. First, request for legislation, a letter from Mayor William Judge requesting legislation opposing the cuts to the HUD Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program by the federal government. One reading and emergency language is requested. Please see the request. Did everybody see the request? Are there any questions or comments on this request? Is there anything you wanted to add to it, Mayor? It's pretty straightforward.
Just that this is something the city's, it's a grant the city's received because we're an entitled community. There's certain stipulations on using the money. At one time, we got close to $1.6 million. We're right around 650 to 680. It's been tossed around at the federal level of cutting or eliminating this program, and we use it for a lot of our operations and a lot of projects and programs that really benefit the communities. I want to do everything we can to not only keep it intact, but try to grow it as much as possible.
Yeah. Okay. Without any questions, can I have a motion to call for this?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next request, a letter from Mrs. Miller, Law Director, requesting legislation to condense all 18 charter amendments into one issue. One reading and emergency language is requested. Are there any questions or conversations on that?
I was required to meet with the Board of Elections a couple weeks ago. You passed a motion, and there was a suggestion that perhaps the motion and the unanimous passage and the minutes containing that perhaps might not be enough. So I'm requesting this to carry out what council asked for last time, to just be, I want to make sure there's not going to be a question, but I just want to make sure, be certain.
Okay. Mrs. Beck.
It was not unanimous. I voted no on this.
I'm sorry, I thought it was.
But I will be motioning for this, but I want these to be separate. It's my opinion that they should be separate, has been all along. I think we spent too much time on these to put them all on one and ensure that they fail. So.
Thank you. Mrs. Mrs. Thompson?
May I just
Oh,
ask one question?
one moment.
I'm not going to ask, I'm going to advise you. If the choice is to place them individually, you will need to amend the ordinance to say that so that I can give them the ordinance that reflects your actual decision. Because
So-
this has to be called for and passed tonight as the 4th of, which is Wednesday is the deadline. I have to get everything. Council Clerk Price is driving them to the Board of Elections tomorrow morning.
So if we want them to go separately, we would be amending ordinance 126-2025 to say, we would like these to all go separate?
So, this is a little complicated. So, there was a request for an additional ordinance, or additional charter amendment.
Right.
So, I've prepared 2 ordinances, one that includes that amendment and one that does not. And then, did I do that? I think I did, because Lori has 2 versions of everything. I have to submit a legal opinion to the Board of Elections, and I have to submit this ordinance. So, if you want them to be called separately, you're gonna have to amend the proposed ordinance in front of you.
So the one in front of us in committee doesn't have an ordinance number, and it says 18. And then when I'm looking here at special, regular legislative session, 126-2025 is to consolidate 20.
Okay, the original 18 that you passed, okay. They are actually 19. If we pass Mr. Heidick's amendment today, there will be 20,
Okay.
okay? That's where.
So the way it
There has
reads-
been add-ons while this was, a lot happened in August. There has been an add-on, and that's why we have 19 and 20.
Okay.
We currently
Gotcha.
stand, we're all.
So
Council
we,
passed
understand
19.
now.
If
There's-
this other one passes.
there could be another
there'll
one
a
this
total of 20,
evening.
Or there might be only 19. I
okay.
have a lot of different things, so in case people voted differently, I just wanted to be prepared.
In my understanding, I have got them submitted, and I have an email from the Board of Elections, I think I forwarded it to you, stating that they have received and time-stamped the ones passed so far.
So they currently have 19 of them.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
They-
Yes. That is the topic of the meeting that I had attended with them.
So we would have one more that needs to be time-stamped, and then
And we
potentially
have time.
2.
That's why she's driving it tomorrow.
But potentially 2, if they all go together, they would both get time-stamped.
That would not be a charter amendment.
Right.
You
That's
have an
just them
ordinance.
getting there in time.
Yeah, you
Okay.
have an ordinance for combining, and you have a pending charter amendment.
So what we're discussing right now is, does council still want to combine all these?
No.
Mrs. Thompson,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I'm actually very relieved that this has come back to us. As you know, I spoke about, my fear if somebody doesn't agree with just one thing, they're gonna vote no for everything. I do myself agree that this is sort of a modernization of the charter. However, I think it would be better to keep everything separate because I think ultimately it's not going to pass how it is, no matter how much we get out there and tell people, everybody worked really hard on this and everything makes sense to me personally, but other people may feel differently. But I think to have that many changes and putting it all together is not going to turn out well in the end, so I will not be supporting them all going together.
Mrs. Hager?
Yeah, I feel comfortable putting them all together, from reading a lot of constituents' comments on Facebook. I think it's better to put them separately because unfortunately they feel like it's kind of when Congress puts a bill in front and there's all kinds of pork in it, hidden within it, a lot of people feel like there's stuff we're trying to hide in there, and even though we're not, these are just charter amendments, cleaning up the charter. I think putting them separately, people can read them each and see that this is what each one of these is, and
they can vote on them accordingly.
Did you have your hand up, Mr. Heidick? Thank you. Yes, please.
Thank you, Chair. Director Miller, could you clarify something for me? So the request to combine them all, you say would have to be amended to say not combine them all. But all the amendments have been, the resolutions to place on the ballot have been time-stamped at the board. So if this were to fail as is, wouldn't those still take effect?
So, again, you passed a motion, and it was
Gotcha.
contained in the minutes, and we submitted that. Because I believe that to be your desire, I wanted to be certain, so I created an ordinance. So right now, the board believes they are making one amendment, one combined amendment based on your minutes. I only requested the ordinance because I wanted to be certain that your will would be carried out. So, if you don't want them combined into one, you should amend the ordinance before you to reflect that.
Thank you.
Mr. Heidick, do you have a view on combining them or not?
I think from the council's words here, I think you should amend it to keep it separate because in this fancy, it has emergency language and counting votes around this room right now, I don't believe you to have 6.
Okay. Do we amend that right now in committee or?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe it has not been called for, so they can amend it in committee.
You can change it however you want without a vote.
I would like to change ordinance number 126, 2025, and have, whether it be 19 or 20, go separately.
Is it, you can just say all, right?
Oh, I do take a vote? Can I have a vote? Everybody in favor?
You need to move to amend it, and then your committee
Sorry.
can agree to the amendment, or not.
Can I have a motion to amend
I will
this?
make that
Thank you. I thought you just said not to vote. Can I have a second?
Second?
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And then, Chair, if you want to give me the ordinance, I will draft the correct language so it can be read. Where is that?
126,
Is that good,
2025.
Lori?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I'll hit your office before I leave in the morning.
Well, no, I think we need to have something in front of them with the correct language, at least I can read it to them.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Call for it as amended.
Okay.
Can I grab someone's draft?
That draft was,
File, everyone. Because both of them are going to be covered with that.
trying to find it.
We need to vote, Emily. I'm waiting.
You have to do a call for it.
Just for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was waiting for
Probably
Mr.
bring it out of your committee as amended.
Okay.
That's if 125.
Yeah, there's two versions.
Mine says it passes if you want this one.
Yeah, there's two. I apologize. Make sure we're listed in the file. It should have a sticky on it. There you go.
Thank you for all your work on this. Can I have a motion to call for this?
I will make that motion.
Excuse me, for the amended ordinance. Thank you. A second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next request, a letter from Thomas Heidick, Councilman at Large, requesting legislation for a change to the City of Barberton Charter to eliminate the Parks Commission and place the Parks and Recreation Department under the authority of the Director of Public Safety. Is there any conversation or questions from my committee on this? Mrs. Beck?
We got a new charter change now.
Okay. Chair.
Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Chair. I'll be the one to say it because we do have people from the Parks Commission here. Who authorized a political ad in the newsletter?
That's under investigation.
Okay? So, every councilman here, a public record request will show that we were all solicited by the Parks Department to put ads in. Why wasn't that sent to legal, for one? And for two, if anything was going to be improved, and if it was just going to be a blanket approval, could a gentleman's club have put one in there and have been approved? My next question, because a political ad was printed, are all candidates going to be offered at the same price of printing at the Parks Department's, out of their budget, and have a mailer go out with anybody else that wants to go there? The candidate themselves isn't the fault here. Legal, were you consulted about this?
No.
Okay? That is absolutely an egregious use of tax money, and I am just flabbergasted that anybody, and I say not everybody, everybody, could look at something like that and approve it on a city's dime and mail it out. And now, like I said, does every candidate get to pay the same as that candidate and have a reprint done and mailed? Because that to me is an equal time thing. And that is, I can't even believe something like this happened. And I take a look at the board and commission in the charter. The entire description of the board and commissions is basically the job description of the parks director. Can the parks director be blamed for this? Can the people going out? It's a political ad. Legal wasn't consulted. I mean, the buck stops at the top. Mayor, how much junk do you get blamed for that's not your fault, but everybody blames you? Same with us on council. Well, you know what? This is pretty substantial. I'm sure there's going to be a complaint filed to the ethics department for it. And then who's going to have to answer to that? Is it legal or the commission? I'm assuming both. And that, to me, I have had it with something like that. You can't have a body that can approve, that just blanketly approves that. Hell, if I knew that was going to be the case, I'd have put an ad in for Francoise and just seen what happened. Would that have made it? Oh, I mean, we can laugh about it, but a political ad made it. And it's not that the director should have known better. Everybody should have known better. And nobody stopped it. I don't blame the candidate because I would have done the same thing if I was running, if I was solicited. I'd put ads everywhere I could. It's the people that are publishing it's job to say whether it can or can't, not the person submitting it. And whatever approved it, mind blown. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Heidick.
I would just like to add a couple things. One, the Charter Review Commission, in essence, requested the same language that Councilmember Heidick is requesting now. Second, it would be a prohibited use of funds to put any political ads, even, I understand the gist of your suggestion, but it's not a permitted use of city funds.
Council members outside of my committee, do you have anything you'd like to say on this?
I got a question.
Mr. Easterling?
So it's being investigated. What's step 2? But before that's answered, I think that ad would have been printed irregardless of who's in charge or oversees it, as well as I do. Even though you oversee 5, 6, 7, 8 different areas, you trust the people in those areas. It would have been printed whether it's under the mayor or whether it's under the commission. I don't think that's the issue. Secondly, what's step 2? If once it goes through investigation, What's step two? What are we looking for in the investigation? Because the reason I say that, well, can't say anything because we haven't sat through the executive yet. So, I mean, we're kind of got the cart before the horse right now.
Here's the question.
Again, the Charter Review Commission submitted this almost identical charter amendment. So I just want to emphasize that, number one. Number two, I respectfully disagree
That's fine.
that it would have been printed. I can't, in the 20-some years I've been here, recall anything like that leaving this city. Finance Director Flaker and I met with a member or two of the Parks Commission, and one of them being Mrs. Angeloff, and she immediately understood the gravity of the issue before us. So I do commend her understanding. Perhaps for those who haven't been in this business for a long time, may not understand that this is absolutely not permitted. So when Jeremy and I found out, we spoke, and I let Jeremy talk about the actions he took.
So, once I found out about it, I immediately contacted the state auditor's office regarding this because I knew it was a violation. So I reached out to them. I also reached out to independent auditors that I have as consultants that help me with various things because one of them was also a state auditor at one point in time. So I reached out to them. So as it stands right now, we will more than likely get cited by the state in our next audit because it was illegal use of taxpayer money. So the next step is part of this whole thing is the investigation. Because since it's an illegal use of taxpayer money, there will be a finding for recovery is what they call it. Basically, this investigation figures out who's at fault. That person is fiscally responsible for this problem. To reimburse the city for this printing of this ad. Now, the one thing I don't know that I have not got clarification on from the state or the other the consultants is what is the reimbursement? Because the parks program was going out regardless. So what is the amount of the finding for recovery? Is it the full price of the printing of the guide and the postage? Or is it just a part since that guide was going out regardless? So that is one of the things that I'm still trying to seek some clarification on. So once the investigation is done, we figure out how much, like I said, once the investigation figures out who's at fault, that is where the finding for recovery will fall on. It's better that we get ahead of this before the auditors found, like the state auditors got it. And we're trying to get it corrected now. Trying to get stuff in place, policies in place for anything that is going out communication-wise, citywide communications, if it's program guides, mailers of any sort from the city, on different things that need to be followed. So we have that in writing from now on. And like I said, am I happy about it? No. I'm very, very frustrated about it. And I'm frustrated that in our audit next year, we will have a finding because of this. I take great pride to try to not have findings, and then something like this happens. It gets me very frustrated.
Mr. Harris?
I have a question for Mr. Flicker. So you said that, like to get the money back, who is responsible for paying that? Even, I mean, you're the head of finances for the city. I mean, could you be found to be responsible?
In this case, no, because I had no part in the printing
of this. I did not approve the program guide. My extent of involvement with this is the approving of the PO and the cutting of the check for the postage and the printing. However, I was not involved with the approval process of this guide. If I saw this guide before it got printed, there's no way I would have let it go out, because the very first thing I said when I first saw this guide was like, you've got to be kidding me. So it was one of those things where, even in the opinion of the auditors, because I laid it out for them, the one consultant that was a former state auditor said that it could fall financially on me to reimburse the city. However, another auditor chimed in and said, since my involvement was just the approval of the PO and cutting of the check, that the finding for recovery wouldn't fall on me. It would fall on the person responsible.
So it would come out of their money, not taxpayer money.
Correct.
And just to say, the time between that first email and the second email seemed like an eternity for Jeremy. I felt so bad for him. It was terrible.
Mr. Noor, are you allowed to answer questions about what's going on, or no, because it's an investigation?
Well, there's a current investigation going on, and I would rather not comment more than that. You have an executive session tonight, I believe, and Mrs. Miller, if it's about this, she can address your questions.
Mrs. Angela?
I'd like to say something.
Yes, please.
Come to that thing.
Please come up.
Well, when this was first brought to my attention, I was at College Park, and they were passed out to the commission that was there and other members. And first thing I looked at that and I said, Shorter, are you kidding me? He goes, well, they said it was okay. They said it was okay. I go, oh my God. By the time I got home, Lisa Miller had called me. I didn't call her back because I was so upset, as I am now. But I want to kind of go through some things for that explanation. The only thing that I've been beating my brains out with this for ever since this has happened. And during the Mum Fest, in the commercial area, we do allow political people to, they buy, they actually, rent a section. And I think with everything going on, it was like, yeah, okay, because we let them in, they pay to have a spot in the Mum Fest. I don't know. I'm speculating. I've been through this with my brain inside and out. I don't know. There is a he said, she said, and that's why there's an investigation. And it will come out, and we will get over this, and you better believe that this will never happen again. But first of all, I want to start with mine. My heart has been ripped out of my chest by Mr. Bebe's, by Mr. Heidig's, abolishing the Parks Commission. I was shocked when I read that. I was beyond myself, because we are responsible. Things slip through cracks. We all know that. It's happened here. It's happened to everybody. It wasn't done because of anything. It was just, it happened. And by eliminating the Parks Commission, you're kicking us out to the curb. You're making us feel that we are not good ambassadors of the city. And that a simple yes or no in a 3-minute discussion, we just fade away. We're just gone. Who gives a crap about us, because who's that? What? And that's disheartening to me. that's very disheartening to me. And you have to keep in mind that this commission that we have right now, we have Mrs. Cindy Sutton, who's a retired school teacher. We have Mr. Dan Noor, who's worked for the city for 30-some years in the parks, and myself, that it's been told, it's been said to me by several other members of the commission that are retired, that they need help. They need help. So this is a fairly new commission, and we did not hire Mr. Patterson. This commission that we have right now did not hire Mr. Patterson. So I've not been involved in any of the park stuff. I mean, I've only been on the commission for 3 weeks. Mr. Noor's been on it for about 18 months, and Cindy, maybe a year?
Yeah.
Something. So I'm here today, this evening, to request that, pleading to the council, not pleading because you can, do what you want, that we know there's changes that need to be made. Years ago, I swear up and down, but I can't seem to find it. When I retired from council, I threw a lot of stuff away. Probably one when I was representative to the parks on council, that there were rules or there were policies, like the police department. I don't know about the fire department. I know the police department has policies, and they can't seem to find it or anything like that. So in this list of stuff, I've been writing down different policies that, like a handbook or something that the commission has that could, refer back to that. So everybody's aware of, there's two sides to every story, as two sides to every coin, as two sides to every complaint. And I'm not sloughing this off by any means, because it hit me hard at College Street. I couldn't think, I just wanted to cry. And I can only speculate what was told to council out of the executive. I mean, I've been through quite a few of them, so I can kind of, I'm just speculating, so I don't know what was said, nothing was said to me. But we do need to group together. I don't know, maybe there wasn't a leadership. I think we've gone through, like, in the last 2 years or 3 years or something, like, new commission people, some retired, some quit, chairman quit, that whole 9 yards. So I'm just asking council that, another thing I wanted to bring up, the girls, the staff. I went to one meeting, and they had this whole thing, and they're reading everything off, what they're doing, everything like that, and I was panting. I was exhausted by what they do. That is a good group that click, and that's very unusual that they click and work together. For the month of September, I just want to bring up some events. I'm sorry, I hope I don't take up a whole bunch of time, but they have a breakfast bunch, they have a quiz biz Monday, they have a learn boggle Tuesday, tomato tasting, lunch and a movie, a wandering trip to Wadsworth. They have a snack and a movie, they have a chat with a cop, they have cooking with Bev, and this is my favorite. In fact, I'm put it on my calendar. It's Snackapalooza Chocolate Milkshake Friday. That sounds like fun. And then, besides everything that they do, we get this monthly that I would more than likely would like all of you to see what they do and see the different programs. They have Big Ten games on September 10th. They have potted mum sales, 25th and 26th, and they have the Mum Fest, 27, 28. So, yes, they're exhausted. Four people, 4 staff members do this. Now, there are volunteers, that help, but they're pretty well organized. They're on the wheels oil. They've 35 years, and I think Kara's been there probably 20-some years, so she's pretty much, do all of that. And there is a pending investigation, and as well as Lisa and I know each other and fight and argue between the two of us. I've known Lisa since she was 3 years old. It is a serious offense. It wasn't done intendedly. It wasn't, I'm going to do this and ha ha ha. It wasn't that way at all. I know their workforce, their ethics, they work so well together. And I feel, and I've talked to Mr. Noor, that they feel awful about it. We have 12 directives that was presented to them. Most of them all had to be immediately respond to. You have to do it this way. I've not talked to any of the girls. The last I talked to Mr. Patterson was at Newton Field. That was the last time that we had talked. I wouldn't know what to tell the girls. I don't know what to say.
Mrs. Angela?
Other than just cry. So I'm just saying that a simple yes or no in a 3-minute discussion is outrageous. I'm telling you, I met with this committee one time. Mrs. Julie, she's sat next to me, I don't even know her. The other 4 are our Barberton residents in your wards. They're voting in your wards. And hopefully with the committee, I'd like to be able to meet with them to tell them that you have to be on board or you have to leave, because we have to have a little bit more know-how what's going on in that department. That department's always been like self-contained. They've never been in this building. They've always been away from this building. So they've never really felt like part of this. And the work that they do and what they put in they should be commended. It is a lot of work.
Okay.
And
I have a couple questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Because we've been in my committee for a half hour now. Mr. Moore and Mrs. Angeloff, why was this proposed by the Charter Commission?
What was proposed?
This exact thing, getting rid of the commission. Why did the Charter Commission recommend this?
Point of clarification.
What?
Yeah.
This is not the exact.
No.
I know, it said to report under the mayor.
It was an advisory role with the
Yes.
appointing authority moving to someone else.
Right, but why was that brought up?
But I just wanted to clarify, it's not the.
No,
the
it's
Very
not the
similar.
same thing, yeah.
Why was that one brought up then?
Well, let me tell you, I got took on that. I didn't, all I heard was, that they're in bad shape, they're in bad shape. In my mind, I'm thinking, that commission had no idea that commission was going to be eliminated and be an advisory board till I sat here and you, Rebecca, asked about that, and you said it'd be an advisory board. I was not on board with that whatsoever. Again, we only have 2 commissions. We have a planning commission and a parks commission, which eliminates, it takes your checks and balances away from the mayor and that type thing. Another thing about the bank deposits, that's something that's been done for years and years. If you don't know about it, then don't worry about it. But it's a policy that has been changed immediately, which I didn't even know about it until I was told, and I went, what? But whose fault was that, too? You've got he said, she said, back and forth. All I can say is that I'm thinking, as Kyra in the back of her head, that she has political, commercial spots for the Mumfest. And I just think that was just one of those things.
I believe you, I agree. I don't think this was intentional.
No,
and I know we haven't talked about it yet in our executive, but where the ad also came from probably would make you think that it was okay to put in there also.
Like I
So
said,
there's probably
it
a
is-
lot of checks and balances
is-
this fell through.
It is, and it is a pending investigation, and until that comes through, I don't think a finger should be pointed to the commission to be abolished without having the verdict. And I know that they feel bad. Definitely, I know they feel bad, because it's a big mistake, and they know it's a big mistake. So, the first thing I did when we had a meeting, I suggested, well, why don't we just put an ad out for everybody at no cost? Send an ad out and just put a disclosure on it explaining that that ad that went out was in error, but because we are biased, we don't have one or the other, we were going to go put it on, letterhead to the parks and send it out, and then it wouldn't be like, oh, you just did it for one, not the other. Just, I was okay with it. I was okay for paying that, just so we're all in the same step. There was a mistake made, we'll make it right. And that was advised against. But that was the first thing that I had said, because you want to make a wrong a right.
I think Mr. Flaker just said we're not allowed to do that.
Yeah. Well, that was my suggestion, because I don't know legal stuff, and I've been retired for 11 years now,
And I think the other thing, like all 483 other amendments we're proposing, I mean, it hits the voters. Like, even if we let it go to the ballot, we're not choosing to end it, we're choosing to let it be voted on.
And both commissions have been to the voters numerous times. I don't know, 4 or 5 times, and it's every 5 years or something like that. It's done that. But I just don't want council to look at these 5 volunteers and just say, poof, we'll just throw them out to the curb, forget about it. Just poof, they're gone. Because we wouldn't volunteer if we didn't want to do this. And if you don't want to do it, then it's okay. Just resign. It's perfectly fine. I'm okay with it. But that's not why I wanted to volunteer. I overheard, they need some help and, maybe some guidance. Not that I'm a boss or anything, because I'm not as smart as most of them on that board. But just the ideas and seeing things. I knew right away that was wrong. I told Shorter, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. That's the first thing I said.
Yeah. Mrs. Miller?
Actually, that goes to the heart of it. The commission is the boss. They're responsible for that.
Right.
I'm not talking about this act. I'm talking about the employees.
Overall.
That's the root of it. That there's been a lack of attendance of the meetings, or even calling of the meetings over the last 2 years. And they are responsible for that. And Mr. Moore was in commission, so he might be able to.
Mr. Moore? What?
That's exactly why we put it on the recommendations, because there was attendance issues and the committee wasn't meeting regularly. And the director was serving no one.
And that too, you have a meeting, but you don't have a forum. So, January, February, things are, I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not saying anything. I don't have the paperwork. I've only been on 3 weeks. So yes, there's a lot of unanswered questions. And yes, I take this job. I take this volunteer, quit laughing. I take this volunteer position very seriously, and I can't speak for the rest of them, but changes will be made. Changes have already been made, and we've already talked about making more changes. And we do. The commission needs to be aware of what's going on, and that's been lax. But like I said, Dan's been here for 18 months, Cindy's been here for 1 year, and I've been here for 3 weeks. So yes, we need to regroup, and we need to let the director know that was the first thing I said to Don. Don't send anything out, don't say anything, don't do this, and he kind of looks at me. And two, I don't think he had guidance from past commissions. They were all fine, I know them all, everything, but you have to have a voice, and you have to lay it down, and you have to say, no, this isn't going to be the way it is. You have to answer to us, and that was the first thing that I had said. that we're a commission and we're responsible for the Parks and Recreation. We're with Chuck's guidance and his knowledge. We've already gone to the parks, and there's some things that are top priority that have been put on the back burner because of a couple other projects. That's not going to cut it. You can't have children going on these playgrounds with the rubber mulch, which is illegal, and having that rubber bumper all tore apart and a hole in the slide. No, no. Our children are our future, and that comes first. I'm sorry. I love pickleball. I love our new courts. But that, to me, is a walking park and no. We need to look at these. And I would love to take, well, Emily was there, and I think Taylor was there at the one, to look at the playgrounds, to look at where the metal is showing, the rusted metal is showing. So, yes, we're on the ball. Hopefully Chuck can, maybe join us. We still have a couple more months and that, but, the whole thing is to put a priority project, a plan, not a master plan, just put a plan together and say, this is what this needs and this is what this needs. And then we need to do fundraising. We need to, whatever we can go begging, raise money at the parks. They have a jewelry, where people donate jewelry, then they sell it, and that's another, donation. And I can tell you the seniors down there absolutely love those girls. They love those girls. And you're going to have personalities, different personalities, which, we all deal with that. So I'm just asking that you reconsider, and Ashley, I can say give me, but give us a chance to recuperate. This was not done intentionally. This was an error, and it's a big error. But let us recoup from that. Let us continue and go through and see what we need.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Harris, you had your hand up.
I'll save mine for later.
Anybody else have any? Mr. Heidick?
Thank you, Chair. I would like to point out that this issue was brought up in 2020 when the Charter Review Commission was there, and I don't remember if it came from the Review Commission or if it came from Council, but it did fail to reach the ballot. It was 5-3 affirmative. The 3 dissents were former councilors Angela Fry and DeBevick. 3 of the affirmatives are still in this room, being President Greer, Councilor Griffin, and myself. So it was only 1 vote shy in 2025. I think that had enough merit back then. I'd also like to point out that it's not just an isolated incident with this commission. Now, I've said it when people were getting seated. I'd requested a year ago, 2 years ago, to be put on the ballot to have certain parks sold. The then president of the commission called me out in a publication of record, accusing me of violating the charter, which he soon had to redact. I don't know if many people know this, but when that was published, Mayor, Director Eisman, you'll remember, did I send an email and demand his removal from the commission for calling out a publicly elected official with nonsense of violation of charter? Director Miller verified that I was correct in my proceedings of suggesting this legislation. A redaction had to be published in that paper. The damage was done. I was getting hell from people saying, I don't know the rules. This was the president of a commission. I know these are volunteers. We all know these are volunteers. But I've had it. Councilor Easterling, you're the chair of the Parks Committee. You had to call a meeting just to get answers. And I know some people will say, well, you got to ask questions. You're the damn councilman. You should be informed. They should be informing you, not the other way around. That's why I'm proposing this. Like I said, 5 years ago, President Greer, Councilor Griffin, and myself supported it. I'm asking for the support of the council now. That's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Shreve, did you want to talk?
So I just wanted to I actually wanted to talk about the proposed amendment. So Safety Director Eisman and I were back there discussing, and I just was curious how it was landed on that it would be under her purveyance. Only because I oversee the parks maintenance. I look at the parks maintenance budget. There's a lot of stuff that service oversees with the parks. I was just curious, I mean, again, her and I kind of had a discussion why it ended up under safety instead of service.
Mr. Heidick?
Thank you, Chair. I chose safety over service because safety has the police, they have the fire. To me, it made sense that with the city workers that deal with the parks and ask me and all that, that the bargaining units, the whole nine. To me, it only made sense to start trying to condense where people were going to be. The service director, as it stands, you have the building department, right? You have the utilities, right? You have the engineers, right?
Yes.
What more do you-
Streets.
what
So, I mean,
more-
but the thing is, you
what
got
more can I throw at
you got
you? You want half
streets, you
the
got
finance?
utilities, you've got everything else. Again,
you have streets, you have
I
streets
oversee,
too?
so I mean, our service department does all of the parks maintenance. Again, that was my only, again, I'm not a glutton for punishment, I'm not asking for more.
You just need an assistant.
It's just, we were discussing, and like, so police, fire, parks
Good luck.
don't really, I mean, to us, don't really, don't resonate the same as, parks being part of service. But again, that's,
Looking at the description of the service director, I didn't think it was fair to throw another entire department.
but
under the-
again, you've got a parks director under the service director, just like I have a manager of distribution and collection, I have a manager down at the street garage, I've got Denny that oversees both of my plants. So I mean, again, with the right people in place, I think that it, again, not saying it has to be under service, I think that that's where it belongs over safety. But that's just my
That makes
personal
sense.
opinion.
My last question. At this point right now, since you oversee the building and the engineering departments, are you de facto commissioner and engineer at this point?
I do, so we have, most all of our projects have engineering consultants. So I lean heavily on their opinions. I have a background in a lot of that area, but there's still an expertise that I don't have that, a contracted engineer does have. Same with building commissioner, we're leaning on Summit County right now, and Chris Randall's. It's been working well. I have not personally sat down or talked to Chris lately. I know that, having discussions with him in the past, he prefers it to be as short a term as he can. But again, we're functioning, we're doing the things that our building department does. If there are other complaints or concerns or anything like that, please reach out to me and I'll make sure to address those.
Point being, there's very technical things that fall under your purview. I'm not talking about you personally, I'm talking about the position personally.
Mm-hmm.
The position itself is stretched thin as it is. Adding a department like that, I don't think that's wise, I don't think that's fair, and I don't think that's reasonable, given the duties of the service director, what they oversee, what departments have to be taken over if there's an absence. I just don't believe that reasonable to put another department under that position.
That's fair.
Mrs. Thompson?
Thank you. I see what Mr. Heidick's saying, but I also was wondering the same thing. I feel like it better fits under service, but I also think the service director needs an assistant. That's all.
I think it makes, after hearing both sides, I think it does make more sense to put it under the service director, because you're already overseeing all the departments that maintain the parks. Mr. Harris is ready to talk.
I agree with Mr. Shreve. I can tell you based on my little over 25 years of service to the city, I think the only time parks actually dealt with the safety aspect of it was, if they needed an officer there or somebody from the fire department there. It's always been parks maintenance stuff, issues like that, and like Mr. Shreve said, you have a parks director, there's a chain of, just like having a parks commission. They're supposed to being that chain of command. You know, if this fell under Mr. Shreve, there's still your chain of command. The Parks Director has to answer to him. And yes, you do need an assistant.
Well, and so I would also like to, I have, since I took this position, I've tried to bring Parks Maintenance and Parks Director more closely intertwined, because I think that it's important for all of the parks that they communicate. If there's something in the parks that needs maintained, or there's something that needs to be changed, there's no reason that it should have to come from the Parks Director to me, from me to Parks Maintenance. Like, there should be communication, more communication there. So I really think that, again, it's more of a service-driven amenity. So again, and this is all just based on your proposed amendment. I'm not saying yes, get rid of Parks Commission. I'm not saying no, don't get rid of Parks Commission. I'm just saying, if you're going to focus on this amendment and make this change, that would be my suggestion, is that it is under service, not safety.
Mrs. Thompson?
I'll make this quick. I just wanted to add, I was able to attend these parks meetings for 4 out of the 6 wards due to my work schedule or whatever. And it was nice to see, we had the Streets Department, Parks Maintenance, Mr. Patterson, Mr. Easterling was there. I believe that's the first time in 4 years, outside of just kind of one-on-one with the mayor, having discussions of improvements I personally would like to see in the parks. I feel like this was a really good thing to do. And thank you, Mr. Easterling, for really taking that on, because I don't know that it would happen. I feel like there is such a lack of communication, and it is disappointing that it kind of took something like this to even be put into the universe, and now it's like all of a sudden like, oh, what can we do to improve the parks? And it's kind of like, where have you been? I mean, we were at Brightenstein and there were signs still there saying to stay off the steps because of ice, and it was July.
Yeah.
And I just think there needs to be better communication in general. The park should not be its own entity. They are part of the city, and it needs to work that way.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Mrs. Beck?
Can we amend this to take it out of public safety and put it into service director?
I was just getting ready to ask.
We've got to move on here.
Yep. I was getting ready to ask that. So can we amend ordinance number 125-2025 to read, where is it at in here? Providing submission next regular November.
Isn't this a separate?
I'm looking for it. It's not in here in that wording. Okay. Amended to make the service director the appointing authority.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Now can I have a motion to call this out of committee?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Next week, we will be going over the council rules and the updates that Mr. Heidick has put together for us. Is there any miscellaneous discussion? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 7:55 PM.
Next up, city utilities, Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. President. City utilities, I would like to call this meeting to order today, September 2nd. We are in council chambers. All 9 members are present. Jennifer Hager, myself as chair, Emily Beck, and Justin Greer. At this time, we have no new legislation to call for tonight or any pending legislation. Do we have any discussion discussion from my committee or other council people or gallery for city facilities? Yes, sir, Mr. Hyde.
Thank you, Chair. Man, am I disappointed. Look at that gallery. Who's not there?
Mr. Best.
Well, that does make me sad as well. Thank you for bringing my heat down a little bit there, but I don't see anybody from Ohio First Energy. As a matter of fact, I asked in an email if they were going to be here and address this publicly, sort of like we did when we passed a resolution. The answer I got was I'm drafting an email to President Greer and the mayor. I said, can I be included in that draft? I wish my ringtone was crickets, because that's what I heard. I had to do a public records request of the mayor and President Greer's email for that email today, where she said, our representative, reinforced that there will be no representation on their side here tonight. That's cowardly that they wouldn't come here and face us. Then they said, the email went on, said it's our policy that we don't do credits. You sure as hell took our money with those power outages. So they looked at each and every one of us elected officials, and anybody watching on that camera, and anybody that sees it, they said your losses, your hardships are irrelevant to them. And then they won't even come and look you in the eye and tell you that. By God, am I pissed off. That is the most heinous act from anybody that services a city that I've ever seen. How could you be so inglorious of a bastard to not even come here and look at us? We looked at them. They waved us off. Washed their hands of us. PUCO sent a thing out, read in the Beacon Journal, that blamed them for terrible maintenance on trees. Her email said, we did everything we could within our, right away. Then why did PUCO say you didn't? Mayor, am I correct that that letter said that from PUCO? Okay. So now, once again, I don't see him here. As a matter of fact, the rest of my term, I doubt they'll have the courage to show up and look at us. But they just spat in every one of your faces. Councilor Easterling, Councilor Harris, your sides of town got hit the hardest. Councilor Griffin, you know damn well yours got hit the hardest. We have to go back to our people and look at them and say, they didn't give a damn. They said, we're reviewing it internally. But it's against their policy to credit us, to do anything for us. Well, tell me where in their policy that criminal acts such as bribery, which a Speaker of a House is now imprisoned for 20 years, they've admitted guilt. Does their policy say criminal acts are okay? That bribing officials is okay? It seems like helping people is an afterthought, but helping themselves, my, oh my, that's the front thing in their damn portfolio. All the damage that they've done, unconstitutional things that they've had scrubbed from PUCO, so over the years they could collect over $500 million off of our backs. Ruled unconstitutional, but yet there was a state law that shielded them from having to reimburse us then. Maybe that's where they got their policy. Because it sure as hell seems like the people that are in prison and the people that made the decisions to bribe, I sure as hell believe that their lights aren't going out, that their food's not going bad. But yet here we are. We had people in AMHA housing that couldn't get their damn food stamps reloaded because they took their sweet time signing papers. This company just gave the finger to Barberton. And they know it, and they don't care. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hyde. I share your sentiments. I lost power surges, I lost my video, security, and had a repair. Do we have any other comments from the council members? Gallery, everybody? Yes, Dallas.
Dallas Moore, 5243 Decker Street. I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask or not, but I would encourage council to consider a reliability study to look at creating a Barberton electric company, as Ohio Edison does not seem to care enough to take care of our community. We have our own utilities so far. I think that the city could fund its own electric as well. Wadsworth, Cuyahoga Falls have their own, and then we would be reliable for our own thing. So, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any more comments? Hearing none, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. I'll make a second.
Second.
Thank you, Jennifer. We are adjourned at 8:01.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Last but not least, Finance and Personnel, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one quick question, being that it is 8 o'clock. Is there any way we can take a break before finance and personnel? Or do you want to wait until after?
I was going to wait until after, but
Mr. President, Finance has 10 items in it, so. I
Yeah.
don't know if that way-
Including
That's what I was just looking at counting all
including
those.
the finance report for July.
Okay, we'll take 10 minutes and come back.
think this is more than 10 minutes.
That's all right.
It is.
You weren't doing anything.
We had a lot to cover.
Cleared the schedule.
All right, apologize for the 11-minute delay getting back. We had to wrap up some paperwork. All right, so let's jump back into the finance and personnel.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you for the break there. I'd like to Personnel Committee to order. It is Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. It is 8:24 here in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, which includes myself as chair, Mr. Heidig, Mr. Griffin, and Mr. Greer, as well as all other council members, and guests as noted on my sheet. We have several requests for legislation. The first being a letter from Jeremy Flaker, Finance Director, requesting a resolution authorizing the advance of local taxes by the County Fiscal Office for the 2025 tax year payable in 2026. Emergency wording requested. Quick standard, are there any remarks? Hearing none, do I have a motion to call?
Motion?
Thank you, and a second?
Second.
Thank you, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have another request from Mr. Flaker, our Finance Director, requesting resolution accepting the rates and amounts of property tax as determined by the Summit County Budget Commission for 2026. Emergency wording requested. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, do I have a motion to call?
So moved.
Thank you, and a second?
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next, we have a letter from Chief Vincent Morber from Barberton Police Department requesting legislation for an appropriation for $25,000 from the unappropriated items of the Law Enforcement Trust Fund to the Police Department's operation and maintenance budget of the general fund. Emergency wording requested. This is for several capital needs within the department, including upgrading computers to the latest version of Windows and Detective Bureau equipment. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, do I have a motion to call?
Motion?
Thank you, and a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Moving on. We have a request from Mayor William Judge requesting legislation adopting the Summit County Intergovernmental Memorandum of Understanding for Job Creation and Retention and Tax Revenue Sharing effective October 1st, 2025. Emergency wording requested. Are there any remarks? Mr. Heidig.
Thank you, Chair. Mayor, this is the one that uses, like how B&W had to pay us there. Are you aware, has any city dropped out of this agreement, or have more joined in, or?
I don't believe so. Off the top of my head, I don't believe so.
Thank you.
Any other remarks? Hearing none, do I have a motion to call?
So moved.
Thank you, and a second?
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have another letter from Jeremy Flaker, our Finance Director, requesting legislation authorizing him to execute and deliver a lease purchase agreement with Huntington Public Capital Corporation, Huntington National Bank to finance the acquisition of one 2027 Ford F-450 Superliner ambulance in the amount of $243, or $243,000, 925. Sorry, my punctuation's here. $243,925. And I think there is some change there, but it's not on my sheet. Was that in yours?
I don't
Was
think
it
there would be
even?
any change on it. I think it's just 75,000 from the 318 or whatever it was.
Perfect. And emergency wording, one reading requested. Are there any remarks for this one? Hearing none, do I have a motion to call?
Motion?
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have another request from Jeremy Flaker, Finance Director, requesting legislation to appropriate $75,000 from the unappropriated item of the general fund to the capital budget of the fire department in the general fund for the city's down payment on the new ambulance. It's from the money received from the Truce and Farm Development Agreement. Emergency wording, one reading requested. Do I have a motion to call for this?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have a letter from David Polachek, Chief of the Barberton Fire Department, requesting legislation to appropriate $4,842.04 from the unappropriated item of the general fund to the fire department's operating budget. Emergency wording requested, and this is for reimbursement for expenses incurred during a recent hazmat incident at Koala Wash on Norton Avenue. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, do I have a motion to call?
Motion?
Thank you, and a second?
Second.
Those in favor? Next, we have a request from Dennis Weaver, Utilities Director, requesting legislation for an appropriation of $90,000 from the unappropriated item of the Water Plant Construction Fund to the capital budget of the Water Plant Construction Fund. Emergency wording requested, and this is for the Stratford Street Water Line Replacement Project. Are there any remarks? None, do I have a motion to call?
So moved.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Look at us moving right along. Next, another request from Dennis Weaver, Utilities Director, requesting legislation for an appropriation of $300,000 from the unappropriated item of the water fund to the capital budget of the water fund. Emergency wording requested. Hand in hand with the last one. Any remarks? Hearing none, do I have a motion to call?
Motion?
Thank you, and a second?
Second.
All right, those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have a letter from Lisa Kolish Miller requesting legislation to appropriate $15,000 to the Law Department's Operation and Maintenance Fund from the unappropriated item of the General Fund to be used to pay for legal services that are needed. Emergency wording is requested. Are there any remarks? Hearing none, do I have a motion to call for this?
So moved.
In a second.
Second?
Those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, Mr. Flaker, I can't wait to hear the finance report for July of 2025, if you would be so kind.
All right, thank you. I know this is everyone's favorite part of the night. It is. Financial report.
I mean, it's important, so.
I know, it is.
We appreciate
It's very
you.
important. So let's start off with the health insurance fund. So the revenues for the month of July were $431,000, expenditures $445,000. Makes our net year-to-date negative $155,000 overall. Moving on to the income tax fund, estimates were about $1.2 million. Actuals just came in shy of 1.5. Makes us over our estimate by about 1.5 million. We're up about 400, not quite 400,000 from last year. So income tax is still doing well as of right now. We did transfer $1 million to the general fund for the income tax fund, and we did do the street operating transfer for the year in the month of July of $650,000. Moving on to the statement of cash receipts and disbursements, a few funds in the negative, all federal grants that will be reimbursed. They are the city grant fund, the FEMA fund, and the CDBG fund. On the next page, there's one other fund in the negative. It's our health insurance fund, as I stated in several previous months, just due to our healthcare premium that we have to pay Summit County every single month. So as we do the chargeback and that encumbrance goes down and the revenues in that fund go up, it will get out of the negative. It's only in the negative due to the encumbrance outstanding. So once that come December, that encumbrance will go away. And we might even be out of the negative here before December. So everything should get cleared up here in the next handful of months. Looking at the last 3 months of activity, the changes from last month to this month, a lot of almost every single one, general fund, special revenue funds, enterprise funds, all other funds, if you look at the cash balance, really hasn't changed from last month to this month. The only thing that changes the balances over the past month is the encumbrances outstanding. Did go down in almost every single fund the past month, so that's a good thing that the encumbrances are going down, and the cash balances aren't changing all that much. And then looking at a prior year, the current year for the month of July, same thing. If you look at the general fund, you'll notice the general fund does look a little wonky, but that was that $6 million transfer that we did in June or July for the City Building Justice Center project, transferring that money out of the general fund. But even if you add that back in, our cash balance is basically the same as it was at this time last year. I know previously earlier in the year, I was like, hey, our transfers are way ahead from last year. But if you look at the transfers, if you add that $6 million back in, our transfers are almost the same exact amount as it was at the same time last year. So we really haven't changed cash position-wise too much in the general fund from last year to this year. Special revenue funds, that's where more of a change is. Transfers are the same as this time, but you'll notice the encumbrances are outstanding are down a lot, but our cash balance is also down a lot too. A lot of that, we had to use up a lot of that ARPA funds in the past year, so that's where you're seeing the encumbrances outstanding. We had a lot of those projects ongoing last year, so we were using up those projects were ongoing, so we had the encumbrances open. So that's why the encumbrances are down lower, because South Van Buren's basically done. What we were paying for the Worcester Road West water line, that is done. So a lot of that stuff is taken from that cash balance, but it's also decreasing the encumbrances outstanding. Enterprise funds, they're about the same as last year at this time, and all other funds, that would actually be a lot lower than what it currently is if it wasn't for that $6 million transfer. But a lot of that is just due to our healthcare premium. Healthcare premium went up this past year, so the encumbrances is larger than it was at last year. So it's just going to take more charge back. It will take a little bit longer chargeback wise to get where we were. So with that, any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to call for the acceptance of the financial report?
Motion?
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Is there any miscellaneous for finance and personnel from any council members? Anything from the body? Anything you want to add, Mr. Blaker? Sure.
It's early.
All right. Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Thank you. And a second?
Second?
We are adjourned at 8:36.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Thompson. That concludes our individual committee meetings. With no objection, I'd like to move into the committee of the whole meeting. All right. Call this, today's Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. This is the committee of the whole meeting for Barberton City Council. I call this meeting to order at 8:37 p.m. Please stand for a pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. So we do have two citizens addressing council. Mrs. Angeloff already spoke today. She's not here, so, nope. And Mrs. Eberhardt, would you like to step up to state your name, address, and reason for speaking? You know the drill, you got 5 minutes.
Hi, Megan Eberhardt, 720 Mesa Verde Drive. I know that we've been here for quite some time this evening, but there's been a lot of conversation over the last several months, and I just wanted to call to council's attention about involving and engaging citizens. This goes back to the Charter Review Commission and many other things moving forward. And it's something personally that I strive in how do we engage more people in the decision-making and voicing their opinions to everybody. And recently came across something and wanted to bring something to council's attention. I've been coming to meetings now for well over 3 years, very regularly, and there's 2 boards and commissions that are not in the charter that the city has promoted, and I haven't really heard anything about, and I just wanted to bring them to your attention. One is called the Utilities Appeal Board, which has 4 members appointed by the mayor and confirmed by council, and there's 3 years of service per term, and with all the talk recently and some of the things in the recent legislation with the trash, it allows for the appeal by any person who feels they've been adversely affected by an administrative decision surrounding water, sewer, stormwater, refuse, or recycling collection, and the board may authorize an adjustment for services listed above. Never heard of that meeting, who's on it, how do citizens approach that, so I just thought I'd bring that to your attention. And then I think the other second item of great concern to many in the community is the Flood Action Committee. Members, it states, include city employees who work directly with the city's stormwater system, first responders, council representation, and residents, typically who live in flood-prone areas or have extensive experience or knowledge in that area of emergency management. The committee meets several times a year to discuss stormwater mitigation, ongoing projects, emergency management operations, and other items associated with stormwater and flood mitigation. And I just wanted to call those 2 to your attention because I think citizens should know about them more and how to engage in some transparency in what is going on with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Everhart. All right, committee reports, street, sidewalk, and lighting. Mrs. Beck.
Thank you, Mr. President. This evening, street, sidewalk, and lighting met in council chambers. I don't have anything to report, so I pass. With that, I pass. Excuse me.
Thank you, Ms. Beck. Environmental Health and Social Services, Mrs. Hager.
Thank you, Mr. President. Environmental Health and Social Services met in council chambers this evening. We had no legislation, no pending legislation, and with that, I pass.
Thank you, Mrs. Hager. Planning, Annexation, and Codes, Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. Planning, Annexation, and Codes has nothing to report. That I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Heidick. City Properties, Park, and Recreation, Mr. Easterly.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Properties, Parks, and Recreation has nothing to claim. With that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Easterly. And Public Welfare and Safety, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Public Welfare and Safety met this evening here in council chambers. We had several pieces of legislation requests. One was a letter from Councilman at-large Thomas Bebe Heidick requesting legislation to amend Barberton Codified Ordinance 351.13B and adding sections C and D. The next one was a letter from Chief David Polachek, Barberton Fire Department, requesting legislation awarding a contract to P-Fund Superior Sales in the amount of $318,925 for the purchase of a 2027 Ford F-450 Lifeline Superliner ambulance. Our next letter for a request letter for legislation was a letter from Chief David Polachek, Barberton Fire Department, requesting legislation to allow the Barberton Fire Department to submit a grant request to the Tuscarora Health and Wellness Foundation for the purchase of 7 AEDs for use in fire department apparatus and auxiliary vehicles in the amount of $14,629.72. And with that, I will pass.
All right. My brain is scattered. Just for clarification, the amendment of that 1068.07 didn't pass.
That was withdrawn.
Withdrawn. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Next up, Rules, Marketing, and Development. Ms. Gearhart.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rules, Marketing, and Development met this evening. We had 3 requests for legislation. The first was a letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation opposing the cuts to the HUD Community Development Block Grant Program by the federal government. That came out of committee. The second was a letter from Law Director Miller requesting legislation to condense all the charter amendments into one out of committee. And the third was a letter from Councilman Heidick requesting legislation for a change to the City of Barberton's charter to eliminate the Parks Commission. And we amended the last two, and then they both came out of committee. And with that, I pass.
Thank you, Ms. Gerhart. City Utilities, Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Utilities met tonight, and we have nothing to report. With that, I pass.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Finance and Personnel, Mrs. Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Finance and Personnel is calling for the following legislation. The first, a resolution authorizing the advance of local taxes by the County Fiscal Office for the 2025 tax year payable in 2026. Emergency wording requested, as well as a resolution accepting the rates and amounts of property tax as determined by the Summit County Budget Commission for 2026. Emergency wording requested. We also had a request from Chief Morber for an appropriation of $25,000 from the unappropriated items of the Law Enforcement Trust Fund 234 to the Police Department's operation and maintenance budget of the General Fund. Emergency wording requested. A request from Mayor Judge requesting legislation adopting the Summit County Intergovernmental Memorandum of Understanding for job creation and retention and tax revenue sharing effective October 1st, 2025. Emergency wording requested. Another request from Mr. Flaker, our Finance Director, authorizing him to execute and deliver a lease purchase agreement with Huntington Public Capital Corporation, Huntington National Bank, to finance the acquisition of one 2027 Ford F-450 Superliner ambulance in the amount of $243,925. Emergency wording, as well as another request appropriating $75,000 from the unappropriated item of the general fund to the capital budget of the fire department in the general fund, which will be the down payment for the new ambulance. Emergency wording and one reading requested. Another request from Chief Polachek to appropriate 4 cents from the unappropriated item of the general fund to the fire department's operating budget. Emergency wording requested. This is reimbursement for the hazmat incident. A request from Dennis Weaver, our Utilities Director, to appropriate $90,000 from the unappropriated item of the Water Plant Construction Fund to the capital budget of the Water Plant Construction Fund. Emergency wording requested. Another request from Mr. Weaver to appropriate $300,000 from the unappropriated item of the Water Fund to the capital budget of the Water Fund. Emergency wording requested. A request from Lisa Miller requesting to appropriate $15,000 to the Law Department's Operation and Maintenance Fund from the unappropriated item of the General Fund to be used to pay for legal services that are needed. Emergency wording requested, as well as the acceptance of the finance report for July of 2025. We adjourned at 8:36, and with that, I pass.
Thank you, Mrs. Thompson. That concludes our committee reports. The only thing I have to say for this evening is welcome back, everybody, from recess. Are there any comments from the body? All right. Mayor's report.
You want to do that after legislative or follow?
The legislative is a special, so I don't even have a slot in there for remarks.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. President, and echo the same. Welcome back. Hope everyone had a good recess. We've been extremely busy during this month with a lot of projects and programs. I appreciate council's continued patience. As mentioned earlier, we're down a few employees, and so everyone's doubling up on doing work to make sure these things move forward. Also want to thank everyone who participated in this year's Labor Day Festival and Parade. Special thanks to the schools and the youth activities that were in the parade. So the players, the coaches, the volunteers, they were all kind of separated but all together. And what a great turnout by all of those groups, really showcasing the youth throughout the community and their involvement. I know a lot of people I grew up with and a lot of people that I know probably would not be successful as they are if it wasn't for being involved in youth activities, whether that's sports or it's some type of club or organization. That all takes coaches, it all takes volunteers, it all takes people, caring about the community and each other and the kids. So it was a great show, the number of kids that are involved. So hopefully that continues and moving forward. So I want to thank everyone that was involved there. September, busy month. We have the Mum Festival later this month, starting with the Walk of Fame, followed by Tuscany on Tusk. Do want to clarify a few things. It's been mentioned that the service director needs an assistant, and whenever you call the office, mayor's office, service director, it rings to the same place. So there's 2 assistants there. They don't work directly, just for me. They answer the phone. They do a lot of things for Todd, whether that's POs or the building department or other departments. So we have a limited amount of money. We're doing the best we can with the personnel that we have. We discuss personnel issues on a regular basis, but there are 2 assistants that take care of a lot of work for multiple departments. And then lastly, there was a post on social media about the city purchasing a used dump truck back in 2022. Back at that time, we are subject to legally, and there are expectations that the city provide various services. Back at that time, dump trucks were breaking. We could not get parts. There was an expectation that we are going to clear the streets of snow and ice and other debris. We do what we have to do to get through. If our mechanics go down and kick the tires of a vehicle because we have to buy a used vehicle, because we cannot get pieces and parts to keep our fleet running, or we can't get new vehicles, then sometimes we have to buy used vehicles. The same situation happened with the police department. Ford, we paid money to Ford for 2 new vehicles. They came out and said they were not going to honor any new vehicles. We did what we had to do. We had someone smash 2 vehicles sitting in our parking lot, police vehicles. The law director reached out to the highway patrol. We got some donated. So there's always 2 sides to every story. So it's important that if you have any questions, you see something on social media, please reach out. And so we can kind of give our side of the story. Again, there's high expectations and there's some legal responsibility to provide services to residents. So we spent about $16,000. We drove the vehicle up from Canton. Our mechanics are very, very good, and they can do a lot with a minimal amount of pieces and parts. And if you've been down to our garages, you'll see pieces and parts stuck around, in the back there, because they will take a door off or redo a truck for a new function or operation. So wanted to clear that up and see if there's any questions. Other than that, that's all I have for tonight. Yes.
Thank you. Did we go with a different company for fireworks this year? Because everybody said that this was the best fireworks show we ever did for Labor Day.
I hear that every year, that this year was the best year, but I don't know if we went to...
Same company.
Is it the same company?
Same.
Okay.
People were coming out of their way to tell me that this year. I know everybody likes them, but I've never had people tell me like they have this time.
I mean, they always do a great job, and seriously, I hear that every year. This is the best show that they've put on. But, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
You talked about two administrative assistants to the mayor. How come we can call, because I've had a residence call, I've called myself. You would think that there's 2 of them in there that the phone would get answered. Because I hear this all the time. I call, I leave messages, no one calls me back. And I think there's other council members here that can reiterate that. I've called personally and left a message and never got a call back. 2 weeks later, I hadn't got a call back. I mean, what gives here? We have 2 secretaries sitting in there?
Well, they're not sitting there doing nothing.
I didn't say they were doing nothing.
Okay.
I'm just saying
Right.
there's 2 secretaries in there.
Exactly. So,
And we can't answer the phone for our constituents.
well, they could both be on the phone at the same time, different lines. They could be helping a resident who has walked in, or a contractor or someone else. They could be helping another department. Had a resident email today, hey, I've tried to call your office and didn't get a call back. I said, help him with this problem. I also asked, do you know when you called? What number did you call? Because sometimes people will call, not the mayor's office, some other number. He didn't know when he called, he didn't know what number he called. I don't disagree that, it'd be nice to get someone on the phone, right? But there are times when people are busy and they're servicing other phone calls or what have you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Mayor. With nothing else from the body, this meeting is adjourned at 8:53 PM. But wait, there's more. Of course there is. We do have a special legislative meeting. I'm going to ask just real quick. No one's opposed to just going cruising through this one too as well?
Let's go.
All right. Do note that this special will have an executive session tagged to the end of it. As far as my notes, there are no official business after the executive session. So you're more than welcome to wait around, but there will be no votes taken or no further discussion after the executive session has ended. With that said, let me make sure I get everything here. Okay. Today's Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. This is a special legislative meeting of Barberton City Council. I call this meeting to order at 8:56. I'm sorry, clerk, are we ready to get? Well, yeah, I got it, 8:55, but are your papers ready for this? I didn't even ask you.
Yes.
Okay. All right, clerk, please call the roll.
Okay, President Greer.
Present.
Mr. Heidick.
Here.
Mrs. Thompson.
Here.
Mrs. Hager.
Here.
Mr. Easterling.
Here.
Mr. Griffin.
Here.
Mrs. Beck.
Here.
Ms. Gerhart.
Here.
Mr. Harris.
Here. Thank you. All right, we are going to call for the approval of the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, July 28, 2025, as presented, because this goes hand in hand with some of the stuff we have. So, Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to approve the minutes of the regular legislative meeting from Monday, July 28th, 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Heidick. And Mrs. Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mr. Heidick's motion to approve the minutes.
All right. Motion was made by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to approve the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, July 28, 2025, as presented. Are there any remarks? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes are adopted. Being that this is a special, we'll go right to first reading of ordinances and resolutions.
Ordinance number 125-2025, presented by Ms. Gerhart, title, Amendment, City of Barberton Charter. An ordinance of the City of Barberton providing for the submission to the electors of the City of Barberton at the next regular November election, an amendment to Article 4 of the Charter of the City entitled Administrative Departments in Section 4.03 to add language to allow for the division of Parks and Recreation and remove Section 6.03 entitled Parks and Recreation Commission and declaring an emergency.
As
amended.
Yes, as
On
amended.
the floor in committee tonight.
All right. I know the title didn't say it, but this is covering the amendment it was switched over to the service director from.
Yes, sir.
Motion to suspend, Ms. Gerhart.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Thank you. And Mrs. Beck?
Thank you, Mr. President. I second Ms. Gerhardt's motion on suspension.
Thank you. A motion was made by Ms. Gerhart and seconded by Mrs. Beck to suspend the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Easterling.
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart.
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mr. Heidick.
Yes.
Mrs. Beck.
Yes.
Motion for suspension carries. Motion to adopt, Ms. Gerhart.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of ordinance number 125-2025.
Thank you. And Mrs. Beck?
Thank you, Mr. President. I second Ms. Gerhardt's motion on adoption.
Thank you. A motion was made by Ms. Gerhart and seconded by Mrs. Beck to adopt ordinance number 125-2025 as amended. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Mrs. Beck.
No.
Mr. Heidick.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson.
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart.
Yes.
Mr. Mr. Easterling?
No.
All right, 2 nays, 6 yays. Major majority has it, so motion for adoption carries.
Ordinance number 126-2025, presented by Ms. Gerhart. Title, Charter Consolidation, and ordinance to consolidate 19, that will be what's going forward, 19 proposed charter amendments into one ballot issue for the submission to the electors of the city of Barberton at the November 4, 2025 election and declaring an emergency.
All right, before we go to this next step, it's been determined that we could handle this in miscellaneous instead of an actual piece of legislation. So with that, Ms. Gerhart, do you have a motion for something?
I would like to make a motion to withdraw, please.
All right, and is there a second, Mrs. Beck?
I will second Ms. Gerhardt's motion to withdraw ordinance
All right.
126.
So since this hasn't been called or voted on, it's your committee that will be voting on this. So all those in favor to withdraw ordinance number 126-2025, signify. Mr. Haddock?
Thank you, Mr. President. Since it was never, the committee can just remove it without a floor vote, can't they?
It's a committee vote on the floor.
Oh, I thought you were.
Oh,
asking the
yeah, I'm
whole-
sorry.
It sounded like you were asking the whole.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, this is just for their committee. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right, opposed? That's unanimous. So ordinance 126-2025 has been withdrawn. There are no second or third reading of ordinances or resolutions here, but we do have miscellaneous. Now, for this, I'm looking for a motion to rescind the vote to combine the charter amendments that was made on July 28th. The motion was made by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Ms. Gerhart. So, Mr. Heidick, would you like to make a motion to rescind that vote to combine?
No.
All right. Ms. Gerhart? Would you like to make a motion to rescind to the vote that we combined? This is saying we're not going to combine.
Right, I don't want to combine it.
All right. So is that a motion for that?
Yes, that's a motion.
All right. Is there a second for this motion? Mrs. Thompson?
Thank you. I'll second Ms. Gerhardt's motion to rescind the vote.
All right. Being that this vote was taken with a roll call, we're going to do a roll call too as well for this. So a motion was made by Ms. Gerhart and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to rescind the vote to combine on July 28, 2025, combine the charter amendments. So clerk, can you call the roll?
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Heidick?
No.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Easterling?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
All right. 7 yea, 1 nay. So that motion has been rescinded. That was just housekeeping. They've already been submitted individually, but we just wanted to do that. All right, we do have a liquor license on here. Clerk, if you could read that.
We have a new liquor license. It is a C1, C2 to the MMCS Services LLC, NAPCO, number 985-T at 344 5th Street, Northeast, Barberton, Ohio, 44203. I know we did it as a transfer. They have resubmitted as a new, and it's exactly the same as the transfer read out.
All right, are there any objections? Are there any objections from council? Time's up anyways. So all those in favor for this signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. All right, that is the end of the special regular legislative. It's not the end. We're going to move into the executive session. So, again, there's no business after this executive session. We're just going to be adjourning. A request was made by Lisa Kolash-Miller, the elector, to enter into an executive session to consider pending or imminent legal matters. Having stated this request, I'll entertain a motion to enter into executive session of council. Mr. Heidick.
Thank you, Mr. President. Motion to enter executive session.
Thank you. And Mrs. Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I will second Mr. Heidick's motion to enter into executive session.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to enter into an executive session to consider matters required to be kept confidential. Clerk? Oh, yeah, sorry. To consider pending or immediate legal matters. All right, clerk, can you please call the roll?
President Ware.
Yes.
Mr. Heidick.
Yes.
Mrs. Thompson.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Easterling.
Yes.
Mr. Griffin.
Yes.
Mrs. Beck.
Yes.
Ms.